Okay, so now that we made the hips override manipulator and the hips manipulator, I'm going to pop out of the perspective view by tapping the spacebar, pop into the top view, and we're going to go ahead and make the master controller. It's pretty simple. What you can do is go up to create, and we're just going to draw out an EP curve tool. So we're going to go to the option box. Click on the option box, and just like before when we created the shoulder manipulators, we're going to turn this to linear. Linear is going to mean straight lines, and the other thing that we can do is hold down X as we draw this out, or if you like, since X is the hotkey for snap to grids right up here, you can click on snap to grids and just turn it on. So I'm going to go in this pattern. I just click, and it doesn't matter really where you draw it because we're going to center the pivot and then snap it to the origin of the scene. So let me click on the tool settings here to close those out, and then I'm also going to hit Control Spacebar to go to full screen mode. Should make things easier on the eyes. And I'm going to hit my left mouse button on the spots that I want to draw. So I'll click here, and I'm going to do this like 1-2 method type of deal. I'll go down to, over to, click, go over 1, click, go down to, click, go up to, click, and I'll come up 1, go over 2, down 2, go down 2, over 2 to the right. It doesn't really matter which way you draw these out. I'm going to come up 1, go down 2. Basically we're getting this simple pattern. So once you draw 1 out, you can just continue that pattern until you draw this out. So down 2, over 2, click, to the right 2, up 2, click, over 1. That's just the formula basically. And what's going to happen is that you get this uniform type of object that is very simple. And when you hit enter, it should look like this. Last couple of steps, very simple. I'll just hit Control Spacebar to bring back the rest of my UI. Hit the spacebar to pop out of here, spacebar to pop back in perspective. Don't forget to turn off Snap to Grid. You're going to see at creation, this pivot point is in the origin. I'm just going to go up to Modify, down to Center Pivot. That'll center my pivot point. And I'm also going to go up to Edit, down to Delete by Type, and delete the history so that if there's any history on here that might cause errors, we get rid of that. I'm also going to rename it real quick. Instead of Curve 1, we want to call this Master Controller. I'll come over here, select my Move tool. I like to hit W. You can click right here. And I deselected the Snap to Grid, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the hotkey, which is X. You'll see this is pushed in. I get that little circle. I'll hover over that circle, hold down my left mouse button. I'm still holding down X. Pull this over to the origin, release my left mouse button, then release the X key. That is in place now. What I need to do is go up to Modify, down to Freeze Transformations, and that sets our master controller to just default settings. If you want to make this larger, you can, and in this case I'll actually scale it up, something like that. So it's going to be easy to select and manipulate the character. Once I scale it up, I have to freeze the transformations once again, so Modify down to Freeze Transformations. And right now we have a master controller. And the next step will be taking some of this stuff, and actually we might do it a little bit later, but you're going to see in the notes that it tells you to parent a lot of these controllers to that master controller. So I would refer to the notes, and we also have to set up part of the facial stuff. So we'll get to that here in a minute.